Hey guys, it's me, Minigamer. Today we are doing another video, and today all I'm going to do is show you my best loadouts, or what I think is the best loadouts for Rainbow Six Siege attackers. Before I start, this is my opinion. Some people's opinions can change because, you know, sites or attachments can be a bit different for people. But I'm just going to show you what I think is the best attachments and loadouts for the new players if you are just starting out. So let's start with Sledge. So for Sledge, I prefer his machine gun over the shotgun. So the L85A2. And with that side, I use a reflex. But I will suggest as well the ACOG is another good one to use if you like medium to long distance fires, but it can be good for close range as well. For the muzzles, I prefer muzzle brake because I like single shot, or trying to do the burst. But you can use the flash hider as well if you're going to do burst. So it's between the muzzle brake and the flash for me. And for the grip, I always put a vertical grip on because there's no point having a non-grip on your gun because the recoil changes. And of course, as well, I have a laser sight on my machine gun just to increase the hip fire accuracy. And then for the pistol, I use his MSG11 machine pistol. And for the attachments, I use holographic. But I will also say red dot is another good one for that gun. I do like changing it around. And for this one, I definitely love the compensator because rapid firing is great on this gun. But I will also say that extended barrel as well is a good one because I like changing both those up, but it depends on the map. So that was the Sledge gun loadout. Also about the gadget, I prefer stun grenades over the frag. So let's go to Thatcher. Again, I use this machine gun LA5A2. I don't really like his AR-33. So if we go into here, and again, as you see, I've changed. So I'm using the ACOG on this gun. And for the muzzle, I'm actually using suppressor. It's because I think Thatcher, has to get in there. So I'm thinking suppressor, hide where my position is, and I can get in, Thatcher all the gadgets, and help my team out. And again, I used a vertical grip on this gun just to decrease the weapon recoil. But I don't actually use a laser sight on this gun for Thatcher. But I do change it up sometimes, depends on whether the map. And for the pistol, it's only one pistol, and it's the MK25, and I have I think it's a muzzle brake on my barrel, but the other option is a suppressor. But I don't decide to use a suppressor because the recoil pattern changes significantly. Right, so, and also just for the gadget, I use breach charge over the claymore. Right, so let's go into Ash. So for her machine gun, I prefer the R4C way over the G36C. For the R4, I use the reflex, but also I do like changing up to the ACOG. I know some people prefer holographic, but for me the reflex and ACOG is one of the must choose. And again, for the muzzles, I use muzzle brake, but again I sometimes change to extended barrel or flash hider, depends on whatever map, but I prefer muzzle brake. And for the grip, I use vertical grip because that's the only option available, but I don't use a laser sight on this gun. But I know some people do like laser sights on every single gun, but not for me. And for the pistol, I prefer the M45 with a suppressor over the 5.7. Just because even though recoils are way different, I prefer the more damage on the gun. And on this one, I use stun grenades for Ash, just because I think she's very mobile, and you can definitely help the team by stunning the enemy. For Thermite, I use the the 5.56 XI over the shotgun. I'm not really a shotgun person, but we'll come to that in a minute. For the attachment for the sight, I use reflex, but sometimes I do change up to the ACOG. Again, depends on whatever map I'm on, but normally I prefer reflex on most of the maps. For the muzzle, I use suppressor over the muzzle brake, just again because I think Thermite needs to get in there, blow up the walls or trapdoors, just to help up the team getting in. And again, I can hide my position, but sometimes I do like using muzzle brake, and again, depends on what map. And for the grips, there is two options on this gun, angle grip and vertical grip, but I prefer vertical grip because again, it decreases the weapon recoil, and weapon recoil needs to be decreased as much as possible. So, what is for my secondary? So, as again, the M45 again is my secondary, but this time I'm using a muzzle brake because for the recoil and because it does 58 damage. And for the gadget, I use stun grenade. I know some people do use claymore, but I just prefer the stun grenade, so you can flash, put the Thermite on the wall, run away, and deploy. And let's go to Twitch. So on here, my shotgun's actually selected, but I'm not actually used. Well, I never use it. The F2 I use for the sights, ACOG, and then for the muzzle, I use muzzle brake. For the grip, I use vertical grip because there's only one option, and for this gun, I use laser because for the hip fire, and plus it's an all-round great weapon, and I think it's a laser sight needed weapon. For the secondary, I do change. I do prefer the LFP revolver, again because it does 78 damage, but if you want, you know, mobile and better aiming or better recoil, P9 is definitely great as well. For this one, I like using claymore because I like getting into positions where I can sit down, go on my Twitch drone, and the claymore can defend me. And that's really it. For Montague, I don't really use Montague, but when I do use Montague, I do use a revolver for 78 damage and hoping for the lucky headshot. Again, I don't actually use the laser sight on the pistol because I don't think it's needed, but for the gadget as well, I do use stun grenade. And let's get to Glaz. So I did use Glaz quite a lot, but I don't actually anymore. But let's go to the sights. I think Glaz is definitely a great one to start out with, but for the sights I use holographic. The sight doesn't really matter if you're going to keep using the optics, or the optic special ability. And for the barrel, I use a suppressor because I think that's what Glaz weapon needs, because it's like a sniper. So I thought suppressor is the best way to go, and I do recommend it as well. And for the secondary, I do use the PMM with a suppressor. Do recommend that as well. And for the Glaz gadget, I recommend 100% smoke grenades due to his special ability now can see through smoke. So that is definitely 100% needed. For fuse, I use his AK-12 with the reflex, suppressor, and vertical grip, but you can use ADS grip as well, or angle grip. And but both of the grips I do change, but at this point I love the weapon recoil grip because it decreases it. And for the secondary, as you can see, I actually don't use any attachments on it because I just change it around, or normally I don't actually use a pistol for this one because normally the AK-12 is always a mobile. Well, it's like a mobile assault rifle, and you can get in positions, reload quickly, and go again. So the pistol's not normally needed. And also for the gadget, I did use a breach charge. For Blitz, I've only just got him. Well, I've only just got him, I say. I've actually never used him, and I was never going to buy him, but in the new update you get all the first, like, you know, normal ones for free now, so I don't actually really use anything on it. But for the gadgets, I recommend breach charge as it's a shield. So let's get into IQ. IQ was one of my favourites at the back. There's another one you need to start out with if you're going to choose your first operator. I do swap between the G8 A1 and the AUG for A2, but I like the AUG A2 because it's a mobile assault rifle. I use reflex and a flash hider on it. The flash hider reduces small burst recoil, and I think that's what the gun needs. It's a small burst gun, but some people do use it for rapid firing, and I think that's another great one. And that's really it for the IQ. And for the secondary, there's only one. It's the P12, and I use a suppressor. And for the gadget, I do swap. It depends whatever map it's on. But frag grenades, I always love that one. So you can chuck it in when you see the IQ, because you can on IQ you can see pulse and all that when he's using his special ability. Let's get into Buck again. Buck is a season 1 operator, but it's a great one to get. And for that one, I use ACOG as the sight and muzzle brake as the barrel. Don't use a laser sight on it because I don't think it's needed. I also use marksman rifle as well when it depends on what map, but again I use ACOG and muzzle brake on that one. As you can hear, I keep saying depends on what map. Most of these guns do depend on what map you're actually going to use it on. But anyway, for the secondary, the MK19MM I use as my secondary with a muzzle brake, and my gadget I use a frag grenade. So let's go to Blackbeard. I don't actually use Blackbeard that much since the update where he changed his shield health and all that, and it's kind of like disappointing really, because I think Blackbeard, that's what Blackbeard needed, to be fair, because what else was he going to do? So, but when I did use him, I did use the MK17. That was one of my favourite weapons, and I used the ACOG, and the compensator and the vertical grip. And for the secondary, of course, it's going to be the D50 or the D-Eagle. And really, I didn't have a laser sight on it because I don't think it's needed. And for the gadget, I use a stun grenade because I think it's just useful. Habana, one of my main operators, I use a Type 88. I keep saying guns wrong. I'm so sorry, but the Type 89. I use ACOG, muzzle brake, and vertical grip. The only reason why I say ACOG because it's one of the most useful sights in the game, especially for medium and long range distances. But for the Type 89, I think, and well, for personally as well for Habana, I think ACOG, you can get in, and ACOG is just a great one for close range as well. And for the barrels, I do recommend either suppressor or muzzle brake. But muzzle brake is my preferred one. And I use Habana a lot, and she's very useful for your team. For the secondaries, I use the bearing 9 for the holographic and the compensator. I do recommend if you do love machine pistols, bearing 9 definitely 100% better than the P229. But if you are a pistol person, the handgun is pretty good as well. For the gadget, I do swap. Again, depends on what map. But most of the times I use a stun grenade, and that's really it for Habana. For Ying, I've only recently got Ying. I've been enjoying her, but I actually enjoy her T95 machine gun over the shotgun. I think the shotgun's really useless. But for the machine gun, I use ACOG, suppressor, and vertical grip. I do recommend trying to get the weapon recoil as low as possible, because if you don't have the recoil as low as possible, and you're not really good at holding your recoil, or trying to get used to it, you're going to struggle. So if you're one of the players who love recoil and like it as much as possible, and you put suppressors and don't care about it, then that's fine. But if you're not, the T95 you're gonna struggle if you don't. But if you do, well, if you don't like the T95, the shotgun is okay, but I just didn't enjoy it. And for the handgun or secondary, I use the only pistol what's available, and I use that with a suppressor. And for gadget, I use smoke, because I don't think Ying doesn't really need a breach charge, because you've got other teams around you doing all that, and you can just chuck in your fast charges. And for the final one, my most main operator I use, and that's Donna Kebab. That's how I call her. And I use her MK14 EBR. And you're like, people tell me, like, why do you use the MK? Why do you shoot the shotgun? I'm like, it's OP and it's, you know, better damage. But I'm like, it's only got 2 bullets. And you've got to reload. Where this MK is literally, if you've got a trigger finger, it's the best weapon for you. And for that, all the attachments I use is ACOG, suppressor, and vertical grip. And I'm literally getting to areas where I'm in close quarters destroying people. And I just think it's one of the most, well, I think it's a really good gun. I think it's the best, well, I think it's the best marksman rifle in the game. But that's just my opinion. As I said before I started, it's my opinions on this. And for my secondary, I use the SMG-12 with the holographic and vertical grip. Again, if you don't like recoil, you need to get this recoil down as much as possible, because it has a ridiculous recoil. But I do hope you guys enjoyed. And for my gadgets, I did use my guide, and that's it. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you want me to do defenders, I'm happy to do that. If you want me to go into a much detailed on one of the operators, like I did way before, like a year ago, but I will be doing updated videos for them, because a lot of things have changed. But if you want me to see, well, if you want to see in-depth operator videos, just comment down below or like the video, and so I know you want to. And if you're new here, hit that massive red subscribe button, hit that red bell, because I don't always do Rainbow videos. I do Fortnite, do PUBG, and I'm also going to be doing maybe a podcast. That's just in the thinking areas. But if you do want me to see any other videos or any other games, just comment, like I keep saying, because I'm at the moment I'm playing Fortnite and PUBG, and I'm looking for other things to do. So if there's a game you like playing and I hasn't featured on the channel, put it down in the comments, and I will happily check it out.
Can anybody out there hear me? Hear me?